established protocols. I'm indeed very delighted to welcome all of you guests and dignitaries to this high-level platform where African leaders and local leaders have gathered to have and hold very honest conversations on the state of our democracy on the continent, and also to discuss on the undeniable role of education in fostering Africa's growth and development. This is an auspicious moment for us to put education at the heart of our policy and investments as political leaders. Because, as you already know, the African Union declared 2024 as the year of education in Africa, precisely to refocus our attention on this very important issue of education. I want to appreciate the Goodluck Foundation for organizing this third edition of the Democracy Day Dialogue in Benin City, the heartbeats of Nigeria. And also use this opportunity to welcome our visiting African leaders who have come here today to share their insights, wisdom, and experiences on fostering democracy across our continent. Sir, the leadership you showed at a critical moment in our nation, Nigeria, has ensured peaceful transition of our dear country. We celebrated Democracy Day yesterday, but for the action you took, we may not have had an opportunity to do so. And therefore you will find sorry for that interruption. And you will all forever be praised in the annals of the history of our country. Truly, your actions demonstrated the vision of your foundation, which is to have peaceful, just, and progressive nations of Africa. This is what we all aspire to. Africa is at a crossroad. We are blessed with a very youthful population. Over 400 million people on the continent are aged between 15 and 35. And these young people are yearning for opportunities. But the challenge has been how to harness the energies of our youthful population to engender sustainable development for our people. So the theme of this democracy dialogue by the Goodluck Foundation, which is functional education and effective political leadership as the panacea to Africa's growth and development, is very, very apt. Because it captures the essence of the task ahead and also places the burden of the responsibility rightly at the foot of all of us political leaders on the continent. We, political leaders, are responsible for taking the decisions that will allow our children and young people to play their parts in enabling a more prosperous, peaceful, and just society. Your Excellencies, Your Royal Highnesses, ladies and gentlemen, the future is for Africa. And I say so because by the year 2050, 1 out of every 4 people on the planet will be African. Also, by 2050, 40% of all persons that are aged under 18 in the world, which will be over 1 billion children, will be African. by the end of this century, Africa's working age population will constitute 42% of the global total, which will be up from 14% in 2020. Therefore, the decisions we make on our continent will not only affect us, but affect the whole world in the near future. Technology is reshaping our world. Globally, nearly 25% of jobs will be disrupted by technology in the continent in the next 5 years. And by the year 2030, about 230 million jobs in Africa will require digital skills. Thank God, our young people are already showing us what they can do by capitalizing on technology and the digital evolution which is raging in Africa. So the big question is, what are we doing? We, political leaders, who are responsible for the progress of our people, are we doing enough? It is therefore apt that we discuss this topic here today in Edo State, which is the heartbeat of Nigeria, like I said, because we can say in Edo State that we have walked this talk. Because in the last 7.5 years, I won't be modest to say that no other subnational in our continent and in our country has paid as much attention to the state of public education as we have in this state. Upon assuming office in 2016, we were clear about our mandates and what must be done to address the rot in the educational sector in Nigeria. The burning platform for us was to hear those horrific tales of our young boys and girls who were illegally trafficked to Europe, who risked their lives crossing the Sahara Desert to just looking for the golden fleece in Europe. Listening to them and to our citizens in various communities in Edo, we were convinced that except we make sustained investment in basic education, we will not be able to reform our society. That was what led us to design and implement a very ambitious reform program in public education called Edo Basic Education Sector Transformation, popularly known as Edo Best. This has brought us to the attention of other states in Nigeria and other countries on the continent, some of whom have come to understudy what we have done. We have hosted teams from other states in Nigeria, from other countries in Africa like Rwanda, Sierra Leone, Gambia, and others, who have come to learn about our reforms. Our efforts with Edo Best brought us to the attention of the world, as I said, which has enabled us as a sub-sovereign in Nigeria to be championed and placed among sovereign countries globally who are recognized for leadership in educational reform. Let me take this opportunity to specifically note the leadership demonstrated by the chairman of today's occasion, President Uhuru Kenyatta, under whose leadership Kenya was selected to be an African accelerator country, just like Edo State. President Kenyatta placed education at the core of national development in advancing Kenya's Vision 2030, ensuring that over 20% of the government's budget and 5% of Kenya's GDP was allocated to education. Thank you, Mr. President. His leadership on education across the continent and globally was celebrated in many ways, including the fact that he played a critical role as a co-host of the Global Partnership for Education Replenishment Fund in 2021, which raised over $4 billion for low and medium income countries, including many countries in Africa, to help with their education systems. Kenya continues to reap the benefits of this commitment to education, as Kenya's education outcomes remain amongst the highest on the continent, thus providing a basis for their growth. No wonder the President Goodluck Foundation thought it wise to invite him to Benin City to come and host and co-host and chair this event. For us in Edo, the independent assessments have shown that the learning levels of our children are now at par with the learning levels of growing middle-income economies, around 70% of learning levels in advanced economies, which is to say, our children in Edo State today are now able to read and have numeracy skills that is almost 70% compared with any child of their age in advanced countries. I would like to thank all guests who are present here today, who have traveled from far and near, to engage in this stimulating conversation here in Edo State. I enjoin all of you to bask in the cultural offerings of our ancient city of Benin. Please take out time to visit cultural sites, particularly bronze casting sites on the Good Streets and other cultural heritage sites which we have in our states. Once again, I wish you all very, very fruitful deliberations as we now open today's proceedings. Thank you.